Y'all have fun. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us for this 13 Plus Fastcast. I'm Ashley Bowerman, joined here with.
Meteorologist Corey Coates.
Yeah,
Let's
what a
do
nice
it.
day we've had so far.
Yeah.
It's been a little warm out there,
A,
though.
a little cooler though, a little bit warm, but I'd say it's a nice temperature slot to be in.
Yeah.
You seeing this sunset? We have to show it right now, I think. Look at this from
Oh,
Mount
wow.
Bigelow. The clouds are receding just in time, so they're coming from the west to the east, so that's why you see the clear skies and that sun is exposed and it's getting on the clouds there. You can see the orangey hue. Wow, look at that. I mean, is there anything better than Arizona sunset? It's tough to beat, right,
I
Ashley?
can't believe that's live. That's a live picture.
That's not like a computer background or a
Yeah.
photograph that someone has in their house. Like, that is what we are seeing if you are on top of Mount Bigelow overlooking Tucson. Really amazing. And let's get back to those temperatures, Ashley, because we were in a pretty hot stretch here for sure. Look at the last 6 days, excluding today, all at 90 degrees or higher in Tucson in terms of those high temps. That's the longest such streak that we've had since the middle of October through the end of October, the 14th to the 22nd. It's been that long since we've seen temps that warm, but a good deal cooler today, 5 degrees cooler. So we broke our 90-degree streak, though. It's a streak I am not really that interested in keeping. 86 is a really nice temperature there. So a nice little cool down for today, and we'll get even cooler tomorrow. Look at that, down to 80. We'll remain pretty cool here, relatively speaking, of what we've been seeing through Sunday. A little warmer on Friday. Then look at that, to the mid-70s on Saturday, and a little bit warmer on Sunday to the low 80s. Well, here's the reason why. We're tracking a pair of systems that are going to move through to the north. Here's the one tomorrow. You can see rain will be well to our north, but what it'll do is bring a little cooler air from the north to the south, and an even deeper system, which means it's going to move a little farther south, which means so will the cold air. So it'll be a little cooler, like I showed you on Saturday, and this is for Saturday morning. But look at that, maybe, just maybe, although that rain could touch just far south enough to get to in our region here, maybe in Tucson, and then it clears out throughout the day on Saturday, and then by the time we get Saturday night, it should be out of the way. And we could certainly use that rain. Now, 23 days in a row, we haven't gotten a drop of rain at the Tucson International Airport, which is surprisingly the longest streak that we've had here since the end of September through the middle of October. So, like, the heat and the dry temperatures, hasn't been there for a while, and that's kind of the pattern you get into here in spring. It was also windy today, so as those systems moving through, as they approach and as they move to the north, winds will get going, and that started today. 26-mile-per-hour gusts today in Tucson, 36-mile-per-hour gusts in Flagstaff, and 30-mile-per-hour gusts in Nogales. We could see even windier conditions tomorrow, up to 30 miles per hour, and it remains breezy through Saturday. It could be our windiest day on Friday, where we could see 35-mile-per-hour gusts, and once again 30-mile-per-hour gusts on your Saturday. So with that in mind, let's check in on our Bowers Fire. It's dry and a little windy, right? So wildfire risk is a bit of a concern here. So let's now check in on this fire that's just north of Sierra Vista and just to the west of Tombstone. Winds will be a little gustier tomorrow, up to 35 miles per hour, but humidity will be just a tad higher, which is good, up to 20%. So here are the windy weather headlines. Those strong winds will last through Saturday, especially out east, so you want to strap down and bring in those loose objects. Blowing dust could be a concern, especially along that corridor of I-10 that passes through Cochise County from Benson through New Mexico. You got that low visibility. You want to slow down, pull over. It gets a little too low visibility, and turn your lights on. And that fire risk, you're going to have that higher risk for the wildfires starting and spreading with a little bit of drier conditions and those winds picking up. So you want to use extreme caution with anything that can start a fire. So here's a live look, again, at that beautiful sunset, 80 degrees in Tucson with partly cloudy skies. And yeah, here's that cloud cover moving from west to east there. No rain at all. That green you see, that's really nothing there. That's not reaching the ground at all. So remaining dry in the region with just a little bit of cloud cover now moving from west-east as we clear out. Seasonably chilly lows tonight, 54 in Tucson is what it'll get down to for tomorrow morning, 49 in Douglas, 49 Sierra Vista, and 49 in Nogales. And a good deal cooler again tomorrow. It'll only get up to 80 in Tucson, only a 73 in Sierra Vista, 74 in Nogales. And Pima County Fair goes on through tomorrow. Here's that forecast. A little windy during the beginning portion of the event there, but it'll be nice and cool. Look at that, in the mid to low 70s. And by the time we get to 9 o'clock, winds will wear off. It'll be a little chilly there, 60 degrees. You may want to bring a light second layer to keep yourself warm. So windy conditions through Saturday. As of now, we're not expecting any rain on that Saturday, but we'll keep you updated if anything changes here. It'll remain cool through the weekend, and then once again, here comes the 90s, warming right back up by the time we get to early next week.
Alrighty, love to see that bit of a cool down just in time for your weekend.
Oh, yes.
Corey, as always, thank you so much. Well, now we're going to get into our investigation for the evening, and if you have a driver's license, you may not know that picture may have been used as part of a police investigation. Our national investigative team found how law enforcement agencies had access to your photo as they try to solve cases using facial recognition technology. Take a look.
If you have a driver's license, our investigation found it's possible your photo has been used in a suspect lineup, and you may never know it. According to a 2019 report from the Government Accountability Office, the FBI has access to 641 million license and ID photos across 21 states, where it can use facial recognition to search for suspects and make a case for an arrest. In a moment, we'll show you how to be your own investigator to find out which government agencies have your photo.
But first, reporter Sierra Cummings has an in-depth look at why this crime-fighting tech is drawing a lot of concern.
The Department of Driver Services is a state agency. As a state lawmaker, did you know DDS was using facial recognition?
I did not.
Did you know the DDS was using facial recognition technology?
I actually wasn't aware of that.
Democrat State Representative Brian Prince and Republican State Representative Brad Thomas, both leaders on Georgia Legislature's Technology Committee, both just learning.
The state have to do a better job.
Now serving.
The agency tasked with providing driver's licenses, state IDs, and now even voter IDs uses that picture database for a facial recognition system.
It's something that we need to look into. It's something we need to take very seriously.
When submitting an ID application to the Department of Driver Services, or DDS, the use of this tech is not disclosed except for the general acknowledgement you're required to check off. I grant permission to the DDS to verify info and release any info to third parties, which include public and private entities. The possible private entities? Documents show since 2008, DDS has held contracts with private facial recognition companies. It's not like the DMV is doing anything illegal.
No, and I think that is the part that is interesting, right?
Ramnath Chalapa, an associate dean at Emory who studies artificial intelligence and its impact on privacy.
You don't know when they're using that data, how they're using that data, or in what form are they using this data.
The researcher raises concerns about the unintended consequences of how it's all done. In 2015, beloved father and husband Marquis Stevens was murdered.
I don't know how I lived that night through, but I miss my son a lot.
At the time, no one had the suspect's name, but they did have this Instagram picture. A witness gave it to Atlanta police, who then sent the image to DDS. DDS ran a facial rec search using the state database of driver's license photos. Records show it delivered these 25 possible matches. This man here at the top would later be convicted of Marquis's murder. But that means these 24 other men had nothing to do with the crime. They were innocent. It's why we're blurring their faces. Yet police were able to use any of these images to potentially build a suspect lineup. I've been in a lineup, more than likely.
I think that's probably true. We probably both have had our photos pulled into photo arrays countless times.
Kay Levine, former prosecutor, Emory professor of law.
If anybody thinks that The only people who are concerned about privacy are those people who have criminal behavior to hide, who have heroin in the trunk of their car or machine guns in their garage. They are mistaken.
Beyond privacy, she argues this could pose a court challenge, not for driving because that's only a privilege under the law, but voting, that's a right. And now in Georgia, IDs are required to cast a ballot. When a resident has no other form of ID, they can get a free voter ID card from DDS. But we confirm that same voter ID image would also be subjected to the facial recognition system.
This could be possibly a new frontier for people who want to assert an impact on their ability to vote.
Uncharted territory, one lawmakers are ready to regulate.
I think the state has a role in it, especially because your agencies, if you're funding those agencies, what they can share and what they cannot.
I think anything less than absolute maximum transparency is, anything less than that would be unwise by us as policymakers to allow that to happen.
The FBI says when it tested its system with 50 potential candidates, it returned the correct match 86% of the time. In October 2020, Vermont became the first state to ban facial recognition for law enforcement use. Since then, about a dozen states and cities have followed suit with bans or restrictions.
You may now be wondering which government agencies have your face. You might be able to find out through a simple online test. The nonprofit Electronic Frontier Foundation partnered with the Center on Privacy and Technology at Georgetown Law to create a quiz where users answer a few questions and find out which government agencies likely use their photo for facial recognition. The Electronic Frontier Foundation says the project aims to educate Americans on facial recognition technology. The site has a disclaimer that no information will be collected if you take the quiz. You can try it for yourself at whohasyourface.org.
Wow, how interesting is that? Pretty strange to think that your face could be out there as part of a potential suspect lineup. Who knew? Well, that's going to do it for our investigation tonight. Again, I'm Ashley Bowerman. Please join us on 13 News Live at 10. We will see you there. Have a great night.